Let's do it. We gotta get through this or else we're not gonna get to the rest of this game, so here we go. Or that, what the fuck? Hello? Why did it take me there? Okay, oh, it just loaded by autoplay? I guess it just loaded by autoplay. Please don't do that to me. Okay, I guess it loaded by autoplay. Well, I just ruined the moment. Anyway, the Adventures of the Unbreakable Speckled Band. Let's go.
In a corner of that small, dark room, Shomes and I waited with bated breath. In time, there came from the ventilator a hiss and a soft, almost growl-like sound. Suddenly, Shomes sprang into action, lashing furiously with his cane at a point in the darkness. "You see it, Wilson?" he yelled, his tense voice reverberating through the air. I raised my dark lantern's shutter, and the room slowly came into view. Shomes was staring intently at one particular corner when he started whispering to me. The victim's most perplexing final words. The Speckled Band. I believe this is the terrible coil to which you referred, Wilson. In front of us was an enormous adder, its fangs bared as it threatened to strike. It truly was the most terrible speckled band I had ever seen.
Sneak. The 9th of January, 6:37 a.m., the steamship Brer, and I didn't push any buttons. It just decided to go. Okay, another cutscene. I will shut up now.
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. Pray, do excuse me. The cabin door was bolted from the inside when the man was killed. No marks to suggest the bolt was tampered with in any way. So, this would appear to be a locked room mystery. In his final moments, the victim scrawled a message on the floor. Almost certainly with the ink from this upset bottle. A Russian word. So the victim was a Russian man then. And the letters are well formed, suggesting he was compos mentis at the time. This is a most extraordinary script. And evidently not penned by the same hand as this message. In fact, I deduce it was written by someone of a different nationality. This paper seal was placed just prior to the incident, by the victim himself, I would venture. Well, what have we here?
Who are you, and what do you think you're doing here?
No one must touch before maritime police come. We must wait!
Shh. That won't be necessary. You see, in less than 5 seconds from now, I will reveal the killer to you.
What? Don't be absurd. This is murder. An cabin locked from inside.
Ah yes, the locked room. But that mystery is paper thin.
You don't mean the culprit is in there?
Who are you, and where have you come from?
I'm a great British consultant detective, the only one in the world. Hurlock Shomes. I presume you must have heard of me.
Alright, here we go. You think Naruto being accused by one crime was bad? He's about to be accused for another crime. Ugh, my head is throbbing. What's going on? Something's not right here. There's trouble in the air. Hosanaga's accused. Oh god. Wait, I can't move. What the? Why am I in handcuffs? So you wake up now, we had to drag you out of the wardrobe. I do not believe how you could not wake up. You are a true cold-blooded man. You found me then. Da, we found you, and now you pay. Criminal. How long are you hiding in that tiny wardrobe, sorry. Now you have been found. It is time to admit your crimes. Unless you want to find out how cold the ocean is, No, I'll tell you everything. There's only one thing I like to know from you. Isn't that... Why did you do it? Why did you take his life? Mr. Sato? Wait. What did you just say? Take... his life? Where is he? Where's Kazuma? Ha! You pretend you do not know? You are a wolf in sheep's belt. You are the killer. Do not try to make excuses. What? Kazuma-sama's body was discovered not long ago. Here, in this very cabin, that was bolted shut from the inside. His body? Please, do not try to tell us you were doing this terrible thing in your sleep. Kazuma's dead? But he can't be. And these handcuffs. Surely you don't think I have to know. Why did you take Kazuma-sama's life? Answer me, please! No. No! I'm already upset again! Kazuma. It was just 2 short weeks ago. Are you sure about this? Won't we get into trouble? Don't you find it fun being a stowaway? Besides, how else could you come to England with me to study? It was really something else when they brought your luggage in here earlier, though. The way that Russian crewman just tossed your traveling case onto the floor. I thought I was going to die. Nice choice words right now. Yes, I still can't quite believe that. I really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. Inside your trunk, you said? You must be even less of a man than you look. Kazuma! Hey, honestly, I thought I'd broken every bone in my body. Well, it's about 50 days until we dock in Great Britain. But if you confine yourself to my cabin here, I don't expect anyone will discover you. I hope not. I get the feeling those Russians wouldn't be very forgiving of a stowaway. They're a sturdy bunch, that's for sure. What I want to know is, why do we need to keep it a secret from the young lady? From our faithful judicial assistant, Mikatoba, you mean? From your close friend. More to the point. Surely we could confide in her, couldn't we? I don't believe she'd give me away. No, but if she knew what we'd done, that would make her guilty by association. It's best that only you and I know about this. I suppose so. Anyway, it's about the time that the steward is supposed to come and clean the cabin. Back to the wardrobe with you! I know it's cramped, but you better get in there, I think. It won't be for long. And anyway, compared to hiding inside my traveling case, it'll be a breeze. Kazuma, let him sleep in the bed! Yes, but what if the steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason? then I'll be in for it. Stop worrying. I'll tell you what. Why don't you write keep out or something on this piece of paper? What? Then I can stick it over the wardrobe doors once you're inside. I don't know. We've only been at sea for about 15 days. How can this have happened? We were supposed to be going on this adventure to England together. We leave you at next port. Stay quiet until then. Don't make more trouble for yourself. Murderer? Oh, shut up! No, I'm not a murderer. Da, you said before. You said you admit everything about your crimes. No, that's not right. I mean, yes, I did stow away on the ship, but murdering my best friend? No one else could have done it. Admit the truth. I gotta remember this guy has to be higher because they're Stroganoff. Susato-san. Please, tell me what happened. I need to know. Very well. But there is something I would like to ask of you, too. Ugh, those eyes. She looks like she's ready to destroy me. This nightmare is getting worse by the minute. I suppose all I can do is try to find out what really happened. I hate this! Having to relive this case sucks! He really has been killed, hasn't he? This isn't just a bad dream. Aren't you happy I did all those rants episodes and that DLC episode Asinine right now? And these handcuffs. They think I did it? They think I'm Kazuma's killer? When they found him, the cabin was locked from the inside. What do you mean? There's no access to the cabin via a porthole window, and the bolt on the door can't be operated from outside. In other words, after the crime, the culprit couldn't have escaped through these four walls. What? Or, to put it another way, the culprit can only have been somebody inside this cabin. Or do you have some other explanation? This is impossible. How did he die then? What happened exactly? Are you still going to deny the charge, even despite the circumstances? Please, Susato-san, you have to tell me. The cause of death is still undetermined. They don't know how he died? The ship's doctor is examining the body, but of course, he has no post-mortem analysis experience. I don't suppose we shall learn more until an expert has been consulted at our next port of call. So presumably that means there were no obvious external signs of injury then. That's true, yes. About the incident. Can anyone tell me what actually happened here in this cabin? I don't understand it. Why would anyone want to kill Kazuma? Presumably that's something you know the answer to better than anyone. Please. Whatever you say, you were here in the cabin after all. Well, yes, I was, but... He would always wake up before dawn and do his training first thing in the morning. I was waiting outside his cabin, as I have every day so far on this voyage. But this morning, he did not come. I could sense that he wouldn't. Does that mean he was already dead when Susato-san arrived at the cabin door? I wonder. I knocked, but there was no reply. Then I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. The crewmen forced the cabin door open, and when we managed to get inside... Oh. There was Kazuma-sama collapsed on the floor. with Russian writing? And the white tape there now shows exactly where he was found, I suppose. I had no idea anything had happened. I must have been asleep in the wardrobe somehow. I wish it wasn't the case, but that's just very hard to believe. This is all very hard to believe for me, too, trust me. Now I've told you everything that I know, so it's my turn to ask you a question. Yes, alright. Ugh, my head feels so heavy. It's still throbbing like anything. Stowaway and last night. Why are you even on board this ship, Naruhodo-san? You said something before about being a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, yes, I'm afraid that's true. It's 2 weeks since we left Japan now, and I've been shut up in this cavern the entire time. I had no idea. But how could you have occupied Kazuma-saban's cabin for so long without him noticing? Oh, no, that would have been impossible, obviously. Yes, of course. Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together. He actually asked you. But why? I'm afraid I don't really know the reason myself. I don't understand. Kazuma, why do you want this? What's the real reason? Why go to such extreme lengths to smuggle me to England with you? Close to his chest. It's an idea that's been on my mind ever since the end of that incredible trial. I think I told you then, didn't I? That you ought to become a lawyer yourself. Well, yes, you did say that, but I didn't think you were serious. You have a talent for it. I can assure you of that. But I never really thought about becoming a lawyer. I think the fact that Naruhodo was able to go to that Western restaurant, which from the implications in his game is pretty on the high end, I think Naruhodo's actually, he's not like super rich, but he is loaded enough to like have money. I think he would have been fine. But I never really thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, that's something you can decide for yourself. London is at the spearhead of cultural development, the center of the world in many ways. I don't think he's rich per se, but I don't think he's poor like Phoenix Wright. I think he's just decently well off. No, because he's smuggled. He's a stowaway. There can't be any harm in seeing such an important place with your own eyes, can there? Well, no, definitely not. But on a personal level, if you were to become a lawyer, then what? Oh. Yeah, I guess he could. But the point has been put up that he is just a student. I don't know if he has the money to do it, because Asogi's been covered because he is part of the exchange program, so he doesn't really need to pay much for anything for this trip, but Naruhodo would have to pay out of pocket. Nothing. Forget it. Kazuma-sama he was always saying the same thing, that he wanted to change the Japanese legal system. What indeed was Asogi's mission? I guess we'll never find out now. Perhaps he thought that he could do that with you. Yes, maybe. But something's still bothering me a little. The look in his eyes then. It was darker than I've ever seen it before. Susato-san. I'm sorry that we kept it a secret from you. My stowing away on the ship, I mean. If I know Kazuma-sama, I expect he was trying to protect me, to avoid me becoming guilty by association. That's That's exactly right, yes. Word perfect, in fact. If you're not the culprit, then tell me, what happened last night here in this cabin? Well, the thing is, I don't really remember. Kazuma brought me something to eat, just like he always did. And then I got myself into that wardrobe over there, just like I always did. After that, I fell asleep? Well, yes. So deeply that you didn't even stir when Kazuma-sama was killed? Well, yes. You know, Susato being suspicious is very understandable. But also at the same time, Susato, after the first trial, you should have seen how very close they are. I know it sounds unbelievable. Really, I do. But it's the truth. If only I'd woken up, then perhaps I wouldn't be in this predicament. And for some reason, my head's still throbbing like anything. Really? Huh. Is something wrong? Oh, no, it's... Please, forget it. Those are very important questions. Susato-san, you have to believe me, I didn't do it. I really don't want to doubt you, but the trouble is, there is no one else who could possibly have done this. Ugh. Kazuma, I don't understand why. Why did this have to happen? Ugh, I can't take this. Don't try to go anywhere! You're the perpetrator of this crime. You can't leave. I can't allow that to happen. I'm sorry, but Kazuma was killed right under my nose here, and I didn't do anything to stop it. And now I'm supposed to just sit around, my hands tied, while whoever did this walks free? No, I can't allow that to happen. Well, what do you propose to do then? I'm going to investigate. I'm going to find out exactly what happened here. I'm going to work out who took Kazuma's life, and how and why they did it. So I'm sorry, but you're going to have to excuse me. Hey-ya! What the? That was a Susato takedown. It was Susato toss in the original. Susato what? What martial art form is that? I'm going to need you to prove it. Sorry? Prove it? Yes, your innocence. I need evidence. But how am I supposed to... Have you forgotten already what you achieved just a few weeks ago? You successfully defended yourself in a court of law. I see. She's expecting me to present some conclusive evidence. Yeah, while I'm upside down on the ground. No big deal. I have to get Susato-san to believe me. I'll show her some evidence right now that proves I'm not guilty of this awful crime.
Yes!
Well, I only have one thing besides the school badge. Tell me, when I was discovered in the wardrobe before... Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't pick the pin. Was this piece of paper stuck over the doors? Oh, yes it was. I remember clearly. I thought so. Kazuma always puts it in place whenever I went to sleep in there. Just in case the cabin steward or another crew member decided to look inside. A real lawyer can present evidence when tied up and upside down. Akurune. Anyway, Akuruna. So naturally, he did the same last night as well. Ah. Yes, of course. The gentleman who discovered you peeled that sign from the wardrobe doors before he opened them. But if I were truly the culprit, I couldn't have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this on the outside of the doors on my own. Yes, that's quite true. In other words, it's impossible that I killed Kazuma. Well, even if you are sprawled hopelessly on the floor, I can see why Kazuma-sama thought so highly of you. Well, thank you, Susato-san. Now, do you think perhaps you could, help me up? Well, in the light of that evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating here, at least. Thank you. So you finally believe me? I'm sorry, no. What? I'm not sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility that you use some sort of conjuring trick to put the sign back in position. I'm not a magician! What does she think I am? A magician? Thanks, Naruto! For now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible in here. I'll do the same. Alright, let's get to work, Susato-san. Please don't misunderstand me. I still have my doubts. Oh. Aww! I shall be watching you to make sure you do nothing that might disturb the crime scene. I wouldn't want you using your conjuring tricks to destroy evidence, for example. Right. Well, anyway, I should make a start on investigating in here. Examine everything I can. Kazuma, I swear, I will avenge your death. Ah! Okay, well, we're on the menu, so how about we present the student badge? Susato-san, about this. I'm sorry, Naruto-san. But we don't have time to waste on anything else. We must find clues. She looks serious. Really quite diddly serious. Oh! Okay, so Naruhodo's numbers are 901. Wait, I want to examine it. Let me examine it. I want to examine the badge. Or the student ID. Ah, the symbol of Yume University. Every student wears this pin with pride. It's funny, but most emblems seem to be either round or rectangular. I like this spike design, even though it doesn't really make any sense. I mean, as long as it's not an offensive emote, although it does cause problems. Lots of students end up cutting their fingers on their badges. Perhaps it was the idea of one of the founders. A sharp pin for a sharp mind or something. Sure. My personal student ID number is engraved on the back here. If you lose your pin, they won't accept you as a Yume student at university. You may not come in, they say. Wow! So Yume University is not even, that's not a name change. It's called Yume in Japanese too, but in English they managed to make a joke out of it. Of course, you can get a new pin made if you can just tell them your number. I've actually lost mine twice already, but I still don't know my student number by heart. I always say to myself, I mustn't forget to write it down somewhere. But then I forget not to forget that. It's just 3 numbers, Naruto! You drew the characters for this paper seal, didn't you, Naruto-san? They're such bold, vivid strokes you made. You're looking at a man who came aboard inside a trunk. Those brushstrokes needed to make a statement. Okay, Naruto! If they found me in that wardrobe, those Russians would have hurled me into the freezing cold ocean. I'm sure none of the crewmen would have done anything like that. They're not pirates. Well, I'm not so sure. They would have forced you to wash dishes in the galley until you were on death's door or something like that. Wash dishes until I was on death's door? That's a lot of dishes. I know, right? I'm just sitting here like, Naruhodo, you're an English major. You should be able to write in English. Anyway. Ah, these must be remnants of the glue you used to stick the paper seal on the wardrobe. That's right. It was pulverized rice. Pulverized rice? Yes, I pulverized some of the rice for my evening meal, even though it broke my heart. Oh, yeah, because food's kind of tight between him and Asogi. Broke your heart? What do you mean? Remember, I'm a stowaway on the ship. All I had to eat were Kazuma's leftovers. Even a couple of grains of rice could have meant the difference between life and death. Oh my. It must have been awful for you, Naruhodo-san. But I have some glue with me, as it happens. You're welcome to use it this evening. There's no point to it. Oh, thank you very much. Thanks, Susato, but also, like, there's no point to it now. Alright, we should probably examine now. Seigi, the Japanese word for justice. The brushstrokes are straight and true, just like Kazuma. Yes, his calligraphy always was a reflection of his heart. Yet you can really look at those characters without feeling shame, knowing who drew them so thoughtfully? Of course I can. I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to? Even though you stowed away on the ship? Okay, but that's not murder. Come on. Now you're gonna bring that up, are you? I can't win. Oh dear, that won't do. Oh, what's the matter, Susato-san? Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused. I forget to look around properly. Yes, that's not good. I don't suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard, are you, Naruhodo-san? Another tutorial. I'm sure you're careful to look around using the ++, aren't you? Now, let's investigate all corners of this cabin. Yes, let's do that. I suppose my field of vision has been rather small until now. That's my dinner from last night. A roast chicken. It was really tasty. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But, did you eat it on the floor here? I'm not a dog, Susato-san. I ate at the table, of course. Which begs the question of when and how the plate ended up on the floor. But Kazuma-sama didn't like chicken at all, did he? No, that's right. So he didn't touch it. Ah, here we go. Kazuma and his distaste of chicken. We don't know the reason, he just doesn't like eating chicken. Which meant all the more for me. Oh no! Does that mean poor Kazuma-sama spent his last night on this earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible. Ugh. Now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. There's nothing on this table at all. The plate and cutlery are all over the floor for some reason. Yes, it's strange. Last night when I went to sleep, I'm sure everything was still... No, wait a minute. What is it? That's funny. I can't seem to remember anything about what happened after dinner at all. Don't do this to me, Susato! I'm innocent! So then perhaps you are responsible for what happened to Kazuma-sama. No! Leave it alone, Susato! That's Kazuma's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it. Yeah, he was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul. I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on the ship. I suppose that shows just how important it was to him. And now he's gone. But I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. Did Kazuma write that before he died? I didn't select the stuff, but sure. It looks like it's written in ink. He must have knocked the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. And then I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in the spillage. Okay, but does Kazuma know Russian? Poor Kazuma-sama. No doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine. I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of a clue in his final moments, was he? I'm sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing. He said partner! This is my pet katana! I don't think that's Japanese, Naruhodo-san. What? Then what language is it? It pains me to admit it, but I don't know. It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with. What does it mean, I wonder? Fine, guess I don't want to select that anyway. That's a very large traveling case, isn't it? Yeah, it carries a lot of memories for me. Memories? What do you mean? Well, that's actually how I stowed away on this vessel. I was brought on board inside that case. Ah, yes. I see it says this way up in Japanese. Which in hindsight, I should have realized the foreign crewman wouldn't be able to read. I was turned over and over and over. And then I was tossed on the floor in here. Oof. Oh dear. Being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds. Well, it was less painful than a Susato takedown. The books have fallen over on the shelf. Look, they've all toppled the same way. And what's this? A statue of some god of the sea? Although he's fallen over as well. Yeah, it's almost as if the whole shelf has been ransacked, and everything mowed down at once. I wonder if... perhaps it was Kazuma-sama doing his morning sword training, do you think? I seriously doubt it. Then perhaps... it was you, Naruhodo-san, in a fit of rage. I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe just to mess up a few books and a statue. Could the way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case, I wonder? Well, I'll just set everything straight again. I don't like to see a mess. Susato, I hate to tell you, the whole frickin' room is a mess. Also, what's this with not tampering with the crime scene? Didn't you just threaten me with that? These are the rules of passage for travel aboard this SS Brea. It's essentially a list of requests from the captain to all passengers on board. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in the cabin. Pets are also strictly forbidden. What? Why are you staring at me? SS Burial! Oh my god! Oh, sorry. I was just thinking. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? I can't decide. Well, one thing's for sure. Either way, I wasn't supposed to be in here. Perhaps I should see what this Russian crewman makes of the scene of the crime. Excuse me. What? I was just wondering how it's going. The investigation, I mean. Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes. But is not true, I see. Sorry? The criminal asking investigator for information about his crime. Very funny. Ha ha. Oh, it wasn't supposed to be a joke. He doesn't appear to be laughing either. He's convinced you're guilty. He might have useful information, though. I have to keep trying. So, last night, did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all? Niet! Of course not. Now back to corner of room and make silent. I say no more to you. Did I hit a nerve? Just for a minute there. He seemed a little flustered. Did I finish looking everything up? Nope, I haven't. What do you think this is? It looks like a broken piece of glassware. Wherever the thing was, it appears to have broken clean in two. The glass is such a beautiful color. It looks like a cute little Nutsuki fastener. Netsuki. Netsuki fastener from a kimono outfit. Netsuki? I'm not sure that sounds like Kazuma. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket like this around with him, would he? Asogi likes cute things. And the mark beside it. What is it, I wonder? It has a sort of brick-like hue. Yeah, you're right. It is the color of brick, isn't it? Even though I don't see anything of the same color anywhere else in the cabin. When I went for help, the crewmen forced the door open. This boat had been firmly closed. What, we're accusing Susato now? It's quite a small boat, and not particularly sturdy, and it just slides across to secure the door shut. But still, with the door bolted, there would be no way to get in or out of the cabin, that's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. When she glares at me like that, I feel tense all up and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel. The culprit used a needle and thread to draw a bolt across from outside the room in a situation like this. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself. But the door of this cabin and its frame are made of metal, and they seal together perfectly. There would be no possibility of using that needle and thread trick, I'm afraid. When she glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles all up and down my spine. Okay, is that everything on this side? Alright. It's some 2 weeks since we set sail from Japan. Have you really been living in that wardrobe the entire time, Naruhodo-san? I think living isn't quite the right description. Oh, no, I suppose not. Although it must have been rather exciting, making this voyage in your own secret hideout. I have 2 accolades to find in this case, by the way. I think I can get it right now. The trouble was, I never knew when a member of the crew might come in. So yes, I did basically left to live in the wardrobe. And last night was no exception. But because of that, you had no idea what was happening out here in the cabin. No, sadly not. Okay, it's not letting me investigate the bed right now, so I guess I'll try that later. I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator. A hole through which fresh air can circulate into the cabin. Isn't that a little odd? What do you mean? Well, this ventilator, if that's what it is, looks like it must connect to the next door cabin. Yes, it would appear to. You're right. But if its purpose is to allow fresh air into the room, surely it should be connected to the outside. Huh, that's true. Perhaps it's so that rain and spray don't find their way in when the seas are rough, or something like that? I suppose. Maybe that's it. This is... Yes, it's a Belcore contraption, I think. What do you mean, contraption? I read about it in a book I was studying that talked about life in Great Britain. Large households often have bell cords like this, which you can pull to ring a bell to summon servants. Really? That sounds almost magical. You want to ring it, don't you? You both want to ring it. Shall we give it a little try? Yes. In the interest of cultural research, obviously. Sure. I suppose nobody comes for lowly Japanese people. Oof. No, I'm sure it's just that everyone is busy, that's all. Yeah, sure. This is where dear Kazuma-sama would have sat whenever he was writing. London Diary. Poor Kazuma. He didn't even make it to his destination. It looks as though the last entry is incomplete. Which means, what? He was in the middle of writing it when the incident happened? Let's see what it says. It could be a valuable clue. Hey-ya! That's out of the question. What? Kazuma-sama may have departed this world, but you must not read his private thoughts. But what if it's something important? Something relevant to the case? Alright, I won't read it. Poor Kazuma-sama. I don't like prying into people's personal matters either. But in this case, isn't the need for clues more important? And then he just appears! Who's that? He wasn't there a minute ago. He just teleported in. As far as I can tell, it looks like he might be European. Oh, good guess. Oh, how did he... Oh, Sherlock. You've noticed the man too, haven't you? I have no idea who he is or how he got in here, but he looks suspicious and tall. Suspiciously tall. His height! Naruhodo-san, don't tell me... Do you really not know who that is? Well, no. I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. He doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. Slenderman! And is he investigating Kazuma's death? Or is he just playing on it? I can't tell. Well, in that case, we simply must talk with him. Am I just imagining it? Or does Susato-san look almost uncontrollably excited? By the way, I expect that you've noticed already, but just in case. If you press A on people when they're in the crosshairs, you can converse with them. Alright then, I'll get that suspiciously tall gentleman in my sights and see what he has to say for himself. Oh, please do. Susato, slowly trying to contain her excitement, because she knows who this is. Excuse me. Excuse me, do you have a moment? Shh! This is a critical point in my investigation. Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly. Yes, perhaps that would be for the best. Surprise! Greetings! I hope I haven't... What exactly were you doing on Kazuma's desk just now? Ah, I see. Fascinating. Sorry? What do you see? It feels like he's looking right through me. Oh yes, everything is clear now. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry? What? And now, whilst venturing towards foreign climes, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Oh, well, that's true at least. But how? How the deuce did I know, perhaps? It was really a most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining. I can't. Was this playing when we initially met Sherlock? I feel like they used a different track in the Japanese version. Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else? But of course, a great many things. There is no mystery, my dear madam. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being as you are a merciless revolutionary. You leave 16 victims of assassinations in your wake, and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. What? And when the bedridden occupant of this very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that summarized the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes. What the frick? Just to be clear, you are talking about me, are you? Certainly I am. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name. Does Naruhodo look like he killed anybody? Or Russian? I don't even see one person who fits that bill. So it's true. Oh my god, Susato, no! It was you who did this to Kazuma-sama. Really? What? And you're plotting a revolution too. Okay, I remember now. I have problems with how Susato is treated in the second case with this thing because it's just... I think the humor in this is a little too, off the nose considering who got killed and everything, but, I mean, you'll see as we go. And you're plotting a revolution too. I guess to say the humor isn't quite tasteful with the situation. It's shameful behavior, Naruto-san. Absolutely wicked. No, listen, there's no way I... Hiya! Now explain yourself. Tell me everything. This is ridiculous. God damn it, poor Naruhodo. He did not ask for this, man. He did not. How could you do it? For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary, obviously. Oh, forgive me. And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? Well, there's a reason why she believes in this guy in particular. You were just saying the first thing that came into your head. Ah, but was I not right? Whilst venturing toward foreign climes, you do find yourself in the most troubling predicament, do you not? Well, yes, maybe. Huh, there you have it, you see? What do you make of that, Well, to be honest, this ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So, I'm not really sure you could call it deduction. It's more plain observation. Indeed, an observation, my dear boy, is the basic of all deductions. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles, you see? I announce my findings with a brassy certitude. And more often than not, I'm right. Huh. I don't think you introduced yourself. Ah, my apologies. How remiss of me. I am none other than the greatest detective of all of the century, known to men and women the world over. The inimitable Hurlock Shomes. So, it's really you, the actual Hurlock Shomes. The very same. The inimitable, actual Hurlock Shomes. Do you know this man, Susato-san? The most famous detective in the world? Naruhodo-san. Of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him. What planet have I been living on then? We must ask him what he deduced. He will have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure. Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? Oh boy, it's Hurlock Shomes, everybody! let's present this. Mr. Shomes, what do you make of this? Shh! Quiet. When I'm ruminating in the course of my deductions, nothing must disturb my mind. Oh, so sorry. Ah, an Indian curry, perhaps. What's he ruminating about? The lunch menu? British people do like their Indian food. Anyway, let's talk. Great detective. So, you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? Indeed, I am none other than the one and only Hurlock Shomes. Oh, I see. You're German? Hairlock, was it? I'm sorry. The fact that Mark Oda is the voice of Naruhodo, and to see Naruhodo say this is actually kind of funny. No, I have no hair. I mean, I have hair. Please, call me Shomes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication. Oh yes, Rant's magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interest articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have it sent from England especially. Yes. Here it is. The Adventures of Hurlock Shomes. So, you're the protagonist in a series of short stories, then? Indeed I am. And you've read so many of your own stories, you start to think you really are a detective. Whoa, that's sick burn. Make no mistake, I'm not the poor, deluded fellow you take me for. Curry is delicious. Your inference is backwards. Backward? My trusty biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in the magazine. You have a biographer, do you? Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Wilson? Uh-oh. I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy of late. Why, this very moment I am returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of a cursed royal crown. Really? I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not. Me neither! Deduction, you see, is to me a science. Logical reasoning in its purest form. A science? Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in his subject. A furtive glance, a twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture. Fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin. All these things are data. Right. And the trained logician makes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago. How can he look me in the eyes and claim that? So you see, I have a turn both for observation and for deduction. And fame. That is what makes me the one and only Hurlock Shomes. He almost messed up his own name. Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet? Have I managed to deduce anything? Well, my dear fellow. Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in this most cunning hiding place? That's right. It was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Hurlock Shomes. Ah, I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of him. When I became anxious about Kazuma-sama this morning, I summoned all the crew members to force the cabin door open. And I concealed myself among their number, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective, Hurlock Shomes, was on board. And the handcuffs seemed to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo. Ah. How dare you? The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, two facts were immediately apparent to me. Oh, really? Two facts, you say? Two facts. The deduction just now. Mr. Shomes, tell us please, What two facts were apparent to you when you came into this cabin this morning? Ah, yes. But first, let us be precise. The two facts in question were immediately apparent to me. Yes, I understand. But what were they? Allow me to elucidate. The two facts I deduced from a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follows. Number one, the cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of the question. Number two, the victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance. No! Hold on, Mr. Shomes. What made you think the victim was Russian? Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. I can't read Russian, I'm sorry. That is the Russian word for wardrobe. Do you really think Kazuma-sama could have left a dying message in Russian? In their final moments, many find their native tongue filling their head. Okay, I gotta tell you, dude, Russian is not Asogi's native tongue. For this young man, Russian. Kazuma was Russian, was he? I can just imagine Naruhodo just like giving Hurlock a look right now. Initially, I consider garden robe may be the name of a killer, a certain Robert Garde, perhaps. But in the interest of thoroughness, I decided it would be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe there at least, where you found Mr. Naruhodo sleeping soundly. Quite so. I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Why is it that I'm Russian too? I observed that you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you were acquainted. Well, that's correct, but everything else is wrong. And if my memory serves, that outfit is the traditional dress of the Russian people. No. Our school uniforms are the traditional dress of the Russian people? I had no idea. And I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong. I took a photograph of the victim and the message that I might analyze it for possible hidden details. No, don't show me this picture! I hate this picture! This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed. Yes, Kazuma had already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. I hate this. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yes, thank you. Crime scene photograph. The Russian word for wardrobe in purple ink. It would appear to have been written in the victim's final moments. Can I ask you something, Mr. Shomes? What, pray? You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary, fleeing from Russia and all of that. Ah, yes. The train of reasoning that led me to the truth. Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me, do you think? Certainly, if it interests you. How many times? I'm not Russian and I don't speak Russian. Poor Naruhodo. Can we talk about your deduction from before? The things you concluded about me, I mean. Ah, the now famously accurate, troubling predicament you find yourself in. Actually, it was the other details that I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and the assassin of 16 part. Ah yes, the more sordid details. It was fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads... Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday. Last night, the young Russian was murdered. Since when was Kazuma Russian? And I will stop for a moment to drink water. He looks just like Naruto coincidence. It sounds like Mr. Shomes has concluded he was Russian because of what Kazuma-sama wrote on the floor. It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One would kill the very man who helped him to escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you. Villain Vorsvikt. Violin. Is it violin or villain Vorsvikt? No. How could it be me? I don't look anything like this man. Just look at his face. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary, after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learned to revolutionize your appearance as well. Is it violin or villain? Like, how is it pronounced? Ugh, please. Okay, villain. And I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list. Need I say more? Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower. Ah yes, the journal clearly interviewed the man and printed all these peculiars in the article. The deeds the man has perpetrated thus far and those he is plotting. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Vorsvikt was included. There can be no mistake. Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters? I wonder. And what about the part where you said I was just returning from Afghanistan? Also quite clearly stated here in the article. Vorsvikt has recently returned after a period of subversive activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan. Where even is it anyway? This Afghanistan place. Here, take the paper for yourself, as a little memento of this great deduction. Oh, thank you. I will absorb all that is of interest to me within its pages, but I see no rubbish bin nearby. Article about revolutionary. An article on the front page of a Russian newspaper. The headline reads, Revolutionary villain Vorsvikt flees Russia via Shanghai. And you may find the article on the back of the back page of interest as well. On the back? Cast your eyes over it sometime if the interest takes you, though you may need someone to interpret. It's all written in Russian. I couldn't hope to read it. But I suppose it wouldn't hurt to glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two. Alright, let's look at it. Huh, this is interesting. Have you found something relevant, Naruhodo-san? Well, no, I mean it looks like it might be interesting. He is? Who? Wait, who are you asking? Why doesn't he speak to him in English? I can't read a single word, I'm afraid. No, nor can I. But look at this picture. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess, do you think? She's very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you? I don't know. I can't make any sense of it. Ah, I'm glad you've noticed this article. Ah! Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents. Oh, thank you. He pops up everywhere, this Mr. Shomes. It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavlova. Okay. Her Japanese name was Nikomina, but that works. Nikolina. Okay, we'll do that. Nikolina Pavlova. Why are Russian names so hard to remember? It would appear the woman was in costume when she was found to be missing from her dressing room, wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles. Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? I've no idea, but I'm quite sure— oh, that was Naruho's line, the first one. It must be an unbelievable sum of money. Susato-san's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves. Ah, I see. Cool. The tiara is the property of the Novovich Ballet. It would seem the director is beside herself with worry. Yeah, I'm not surprised. The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlovia and the valuable tiara. They requested international assistance at all ports with sailings to Great Britain. Could this be another case of a Russian fleeing his or her country? It does seem to be the Russian thing to do. I'm not even going to dignify that with a response, Mr. Naruhodo. Article about ballerina. An article on the back page of the Russian newspaper. The headline reads, "Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai." Alright then, we got that. No doubt it'll be useful later. Oh no, my pillow fell. Okay, hold on. Before we start talking, you were examining Kazuma's desk, weren't you? $270. Yeah, that is a pretty sad amount in this day and age. Kazuma. Ah yes, the victim. Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all? Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text. London diary. Kazuma was keeping notes of the trip. But I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. By people, we mean Susato. Tragic. And something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. You mean you've read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what a Susato takedown is. And then Susato does absolutely nothing. Susato-san, aren't you going to throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. What on earth do you mean? Susato! Life is so unfair. Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely this diary belonged to the victim. It would appear that the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author was cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? Pray be precise as to details. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, dear boy, a smattering. Sayonara, Banzai, Mikado, Nado Nado. I trust you're suitably impressed. Nado Nado! But this diary is littered with complicated-looking characters of which I can read precisely none. So what was all that showing off about before then? They did cut Harakiri out. If you would be so kind as to show me, I would be happy to read it to you, Mr. Shomes. I'm much obliged, my dear madam. The final entry here in Kazuma-sama's diary consists of just 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound? These are very deep waters. Pray, go on. The second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? What on earth does that mean? I have no idea. I've never heard that expression before. The ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring to the lattice there on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin. Yes, the adjoining cabin. Maybe you should, please. Kazuma's diary. A diary Kazuma was keeping on his trip to London. According to the last entry he made before his death, he spied what appeared to be a speckled band. So, I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being, at least. Do you have somewhere to go? As it happens, the victim's writings in his diaries have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe, and if I'm still too long, the seasickness takes hold. Hurlock gets seasick. Oh, I suppose. You're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to. Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation. So yes, I intend to investigate. Hence, the truth will become clear soon enough. Do you think perhaps that we could go with you? No, that would be somewhat complicated. What? But why? A simple glance at your wrist should reveal the answer. Oh, these. After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter. No? There's no point trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point. What? You must be joking. You just said it only a moment ago. Dear me, you are clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing. Well, actually, Mr. Shomes, I did hear you say that too. You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know. Not really. So, what? You were looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. Naruto's so offended. Well, anyway, that was then and this is now. Oh, God. I can understand if Naruto's really frustrated right now. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. Oh, God. Now he's just being plain rude. And mean. God. And off he goes, having just a laugh in my face. His sense of humor is as twisted as his name. Naruto-san, what are you just standing there for? We must go and investigate the cabin next door as well. Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way I can— Yeah! Why the toss? After Kazuma-sama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you willing to give up? Okay, just a moment ago you wouldn't even let him go anywhere. Come on, or even look around the cabin. You're just gonna roll over and accept your fate? I'm sorry, Susato, you're being very unreasonable. Ugh, as if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for a chance to slip next door. Good idea. The situation doesn't look good for me, but there are still things I can do to help myself. And I owe it to Kazuma to do everything I can to find a way out of this and bring the real culprit to justice. Is something wrong, Naruto-san? Oh, no, it's just that crewman standing by the door. I can't help feeling like I've seen him somewhere before. Oh, yes, you're right. He does look familiar. Excuse me, sir. Is that you, Hosonaga? Yes? What can I do for you? Hello, Hosonaga! Undercover again, as usual. I recognize that face, but it can't be. Well, everyone knows that cough and blood. It is. I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosonaga. Donald Duck! Louis! Hello again. What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you, my heart stopped. Nearly stopped? Nearly stopped, I hope. I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew and board this ship. Does that mean Naruto is Asogi Sora? No! What? Are all people dressed in sailor outfits Donald Duck now? Again? You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. Yes, he does. If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask. Well, you came at a convenient time. I like to get out of this room. I never expected to see this man on board. But perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. And you still need to get that cough checked, boy. Boy, sir, excuse me. No, present the thing! Present the thing! Inspector, can I show you this? What the? Is that the Fable Imperial Yume University pin badge? I'm not sure if it's really Fable exactly, but... So, you're a genuine student then? Sorry? Nothing like me. With my regular schooling, you're something much greater. Is that what you're trying to say? Can I have my badge back, please? Hold on, can I check the bed yet? No, I can't check the bed yet. God damn it. Okay, fine. I guess we will talk. Special orders. So, what are your special orders this time, Inspector? Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew? Didn't we just establish he does undercover stuff? Although, why is he here? I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as Asogi-san's bodyguard. It was Minister of Justice Jigoku who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. Hey! We got a name for the judge! And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated. Assassinated? Who wants to assassinate a student? How could that even have been a possibility? Judges have names! What do you know? I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jigoku said we should be prepared for all eventualities. That's right. There's Courtney, Judge Courtney from Ace Attorney Investigation 2. That is incredible. This is incredible. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama was assassinated? Obviously, we couldn't give Asogi-san a visible security escort, which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew. I see. And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board, from morning until night, every day. But I never imagined it would happen here, inside his own cabin, not here on the first-class deck. I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asogi-san is dead as a result. I shall write kanji whenever we get to a break. I am a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize. Inspector. So if there's anything at all that I can do to help now, just say the word. Well, we would like to leave the cabin. Or at least Naruhodo would like to leave the cabin. We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves. I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer. Of course not. Wait, what are you... I know, we're only at case 2. There's still 8 other cases. We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door. Yes, we need to be allowed out of this cabin. I'm sorry. What? You've been deemed a risk to the ship's safety. If you move to even touch the handle of the cabin door, that stormy-looking seaman there would surely snap your neck in two. I suppose I'm not just a stowaway now. They think I'm a murderer as well. What if there was an Ace Attorney red herring where the first case you thought you're playing as the protagonist, but then it turns out that it's a different protagonist? Would it be possible to give me something to work with, do you think? I'm going to need something persuasive. What do you mean? If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I'd do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I'd lay my life on the line if I had to. But I don't see how... Oh, we have something! We got this! We got this! Just gotta let me present it. There may be a way. What? Really? Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence, Naruto-san, by presenting me with a piece of evidence that you already had in your possession. Evidence? It's just the same as when you were in court. You must have done it many times during your trial. Simply select the present panel and choose some evidence that Inspector Hosonaga could use. So, evidence that would give us viable reason to investigate the next door cabin, is it? Alright, yes, I think I might know what we can use. Let's see if I can present the detective with the evidence he needs to persuade the captain. Don't you love meta tutorials? Anyway. Sir, take this. What's that? It's Kazuma's diary. Just before he died, Kazuma-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary. Strange? In what way? He wrote, "What looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill." A speckled band? That is strange. Yes, we're still trying to work out what he meant by that. But what I like to know is... Don't tell me. The ventilator, is it? You're very astute, Inspector. That ventilator clearly joins to the next door cabin. That's right. So if we could investigate in there, we might be able to work out the speckled band, what the speckled band was. Farts just spreading between cabins. Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you. Really? You're willing to do that? Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those As long as you can't leave the first-class area. There's a period there. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. But what about the captain? Aren't you going to go against his direct orders? I'm a man of my word. And I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. Hosonaga, please be careful. After all, I failed to keep Asogi-san safe. This is the least I can do. Thank you. Let's seize the moment then, Naruto-san. Just select move and we can leave this cabin at last. Move. Alright, let's see what we can find out. Gee, I didn't know. What could we possibly do to get out of here? Ooh! Cool, I can see this in English now. Susano's comment when we get to the Kazuma's cabin, though. Alright, let's get out of here. I can't take this seriously. 9th January, 7:48 a.m. SS Brea. Beria. Brea. First class cabin passageway. Russian. Whew. I'm finally out of that cabin. Yay! We're free-ish. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be. This is the most luxurious accommodation. Yes, indeed. Kazuma-san was being sent on study tour by the government. That's why he was being put up in a first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in steerage. Really? That must be awful. Oh, look over there. There's another crewman keeping watch. He looks enormous, even if he's sitting down. Yeah, I don't want to mess with him. The door next to him leads to the second-class accommodation. I suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here. No one comes in here who shouldn't. I suppose. Like people in handcuffs? Let's not play with him for now. Naruhodo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you'd be used to the ship by now. We've been at sea for 2 weeks already. He's been in a wardrobe for 2 weeks. Well, yes, I know. But the thing is, I was inside Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard. And ever since then, I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe. It must have been a very trying time for you. Please, don't give me that pitying look. All right, well, let's examine. This looks like a plan of the SS Brea. It shows each deck. Look. The Brea is a large-scale steamship with a triple-skin hull. What a marvel of engineering. Well, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but how is it that such a huge lump of metal doesn't just sink to the bottom of the ocean? Oh, that's really quite simple, Naruhodo-san. It is? Well, consider the Japanese archipelago. The islands of Japan? Yes, they're not metal, but they are enormous lumps of earth, many, many times larger than the ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea since the gods created them. Yeah. Well, I suppose so. That's kind of cute that that's what they think. What do you think this is? It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it? I wouldn't activate that. That's the emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it. Oh, an alarm. It says press only in times of emergency. It looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship and brings the vessel to a complete stop. Oh, this I have to see. What are you doing, Naruhodo-san? You mustn't... What did we just say, Naruhodo? But this is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs. You know, it's valid. You know full well that's not what the alarm is for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation. Huh. I wish everything would just stop. The ship included. If you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect anyone else. Oh, this dialogue has to be funny in English. A trap for catching mice. Yeah, we have plenty of those back home in Japan. Although they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait. Let me see. Ah, yes, I think that's what is called cheese. It's made from the milk of cows. Cheese? I wonder what that tastes like. You can't eat it, Naruhodo-san. The trap will snap shut on your fingers. Really? But... I suppose you're right. Naruhodo is so precious. You weren't actually going to try it, were you? Yes, he was! All I've had to eat for the past couple of weeks is Kazuma's leftovers. You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe. Poor you. I'll find a little snack for you later. Oh, thanks, Susato. That's a huge book on the top of the table there, and there's a pen next to it. Yes, that looks like the ship's log. Shall we have a little look through it? The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. And nothing. No reaction at all. I thought he might appreciate the compliment. I'm not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment, Naruto-san. Even to a sailor. Also, he probably doesn't know Japanese since you two are both talking in Japanese right now. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report. Indeed. Can I peek through this without being yelled at? That's the way to the second-class area of the ship. Is something wrong? I was thinking about making a run for it. Just for a moment. Things aren't exactly going well for me. I might be wrong, but I imagine the moment you reach for the handle of the door, that burly seaman would surely shoot you dead. Forget shooting, he might strangle you. Oh dear. I'm sorry. Perhaps I went a little too far there. Yeah, just a little bit. No, I started it with my talk of running away. And there's no way I could run away while Kazuma's death remains a mystery anyway. Excuse me, but could I ask you something? You little stowaway murderer. That wasn't a good start, was it? All right, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm so sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you? You little third-class lady's maid? Wow! Rude! Oh. We seem to have caught the sailor on a bad day. I am not sailor. My mother gave me name. I am senior crewman, Beef Stroganoff. Whew. The best thing is just to avoid eye contact, I think. Beef Stroganoff. Mr. Stroganoff, about this first class cabin area. If we are in the finest part of Brewer's ship, for very important persons. Here we are. Oops. What sort of very important persons? Government officials, kings and queens, traveling in secret. Many important persons. Be strong enough? This is why I am always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. But somehow I let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in ocean, but Stroganoff is not animal. Thank you? If I may, I was wondering, is the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's currently occupied? Da! Susato-san, did you understand that? It sounds like da. I think it probably Russian for yes, or no. Genius. It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation. Well, it sounds like there is somebody in the next door cabin, at least. Yes, it's tantalizing. Passenger in the next door cabin. Let's go. Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's? Can we pet him? His name is Mr. Grimsby Roylott. He is very important Western gentleman. A Western gentleman? Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with murder of student boy. We didn't bring up the case, but if the fact that you're saying it means they are involved. How can you be so sure about that? Mr. Roylott is authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in lowly student from insignificant Far East Islands. That was harsh. Could you tell us when Mr. Roylott came aboard? That is not your business. Come to think of it, even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, and I've been in Kazuma's cabin the entire time, I've never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there's anyone there. Sus. Well, presumably, since this gentleman is occupying one of the first class cabins, he must be rather important. Is that right? That is not your business. Also, why does... You notice he has some weird discoloration on his face? Are you on watch here all the time, Seaman Stroganoff? Da, all time. So criminals like you cannot come in or get out. I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all? It is sad about student boy. Were you on watch last night as well? Sunburns. Of course. And did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual? Nit! Susato-san, did you understand that? It was clearly a no. I saw nothing unusual. Nothing at all. And you didn't hear any strange noises, or sense anything was wrong in some way. I said, no! Sorry. I'm not so sure. I could have sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. This is enough. I cannot say more now. Oh, it is time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin. Yes, all right. Bulkhead to second class area is staying locked at all times. You escape when the lobster whistles on top of the mountain, or as English say, when pigs fly. Lobsters whistle at the top of the mountain? That's a saying. Yes, I understand. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Good. Now we can investigate this area properly, shall we? Definitely. I don't think there's anything overly complicated because, you know, it's like single words, as far as I know. Oh, hey, I can examine this thing now. I'm gonna go examine the door. Boink! This is it. This is the cabin next to ours. The one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever's in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. No answer. No answer. We're out of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help with our inquiries. How annoying. Ah! What was that? It came from inside the cabin. Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman. Stand aside. Suddenly Sherlock. Oh, I mean Hurlock. You get the idea. I'm taking a moment to drink my water. I'm about to break the door down. Mr. Shomes! I shan't be stopped. When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off the hinges. Please, wait, Mr. Shomes. The door doesn't appear to be bolted. It doesn't? Then how the deuce can I dispatch this muscular urge? What, pray, can I kick? I think we should go in. There's no time to think about stress relief. Hurlock! 9th of January, SS Brea, first class cabin, number 2. Who are you? A Western gentleman. This man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream. A woman? Don't be absurd. As you can see, there's nobody but me in this cabin. True. This old man does appear to be the only person in here. But in that case, who just screamed? Get out! All of you! Get out now! Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimsby Roylett, I believe. Yes, that's me. And you are? I am the one and only, the actual Hurlock Shomes. You've heard of me, no doubt. No. I am a great detective among great detectives, one who adorns the cover of popular magazines, no less. I assure you, you may trust me completely. This man uses that magazine like a business card. Detective? I do not trust detectives. We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe this time. So, might I be so bold as to ask you to open that small traveling case? What? Don't be stupid! How could anyone fit in small trunk like that? Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Traveling inside one's trunk. Yes, if it's big enough! Don't look at me. No. Ooh. Oh my! Did you see that, Mr. Naruto? Yes. The case just shook. Leave, now! Otherwise, I called the steward! So this is Kazuma's neighbor, Mr. Grimsby Roylett. There's no doubt about it. This strange Russian man is hiding something. I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before that burly sailor returns. Mr. Roylett, what do you make of this? Listen. Do you know why I am wearing these dark glasses? No, not really. So I do not have to look at things I do not want to look at. Do you understand me? I wish I could point out that you can still see things, even when wearing sunglasses. But his chilly air has frozen my lips shut. Yeah? Okay. What if I show you this? Huh? Can we talk about this? This word was written on the floor in ink next to where the man died, as if he wrote it in his last moments. It's Russian, isn't it? We believe it means wardrobe. Is that right? Yes, that's right. Could you tell us how it's pronounced, please? I don't know how to pronounce that! I can't read Russian text! Oh, that was pointless. It is very sad. Sorry? The steward told me he was a young man. Yes, he was my best friend. It's a terrible tragedy. Garderobe. Oh, right! Sherlock said that. He just said that a moment ago. Thank you. Garderobe. Garderobe. I don't know my Russian accent, so I'm just pronouncing it as I read it. It's a terrible tragedy. Of course it's a terrible tragedy. No, sorry. Sure. Really? Sir, what are you doing? Wait, I can examine this bed? Can I examine the bed? Do you have a moment, please, Mr. Shomes? You need only address me as Shomes. That's what I just did, isn't it? Well, Mr. Shomes, what were you doing in there? Why, I was resting, of course. Resting? Indeed, I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting. Waiting for the inevitable time that you would need to call my great powers of detection into service. Oh! And it would seem that the hour is upon us now. The time has come! The time has come! The time has finally come! Am I mistaken? Well, no, actually, you're spot on, for once. Observe closely. Our Russian host in his cabin, Mr. Roylett, is clearly trying to hide something. And do you know what is the most effective weapon to use against a Russian hiding a secret? Why, the truth, of course. It's not the case for everything. Though it would be pointed out that such methods are not exclusively for the Russians. Okay, thank you for the disclaimer. Right. Can you imagine how the Russian would react when the secret he guards so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it? Oh, yes, please. Well then, what you are about to see may well astound you. For I am about to apply my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. It's time! Could this man be a more hackneyed portrayal of a dubious Russian, I ask you? What? From time to time it occurs to me. Is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness or Russian on account of his dubiousness? I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you or anyone. That's right. And Mr. Shomes. I know this man's beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially on first meeting, but I once read, it is a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment. Shh! I must have complete silence. What are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that? Well, don't your R's sound similar in Portuguese and Japanese? They sound kind of like L's, like you kind of roll your R's. Ah, just as I thought. Yes, I have quite made up my mind now. There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Roylett, I have reached two incontrovertible conclusions. What do you mean? Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you are about to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not? Huh? And number two, the other conclusion I have drawn, you are, at this very moment no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you have been discovered. Does it not? Ah! Oh, Naruto-san! I never imagined I would witness one of Mr. Shomes' great deductions with my own eyes. That was a great deduction? Nothing can deceive Mr. Shomes. In a single glance, he can deduce all there is to know about a person. What? What an ineffable twaddle. What an ineffable twaddle! Oh yes, I read about it countless times in the adventures of Hurlock Shomes. And now I've experienced the astonishing impact of his great deduction firsthand. This is like a dream come true. I can hardly believe it, but all the color has drained in Mr. Roylett's face. I have no idea. Rot. What bread isn't edible? I'm not sure. A rotten bread. Sorry. It looked like somehow both of Mr. Shomes' conclusions were right. How could I possibly know such things? You wish to say? Very well then. I shall elucidate. I shall explain how it was that I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So do I cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. Put plainly, let us work through my deductions together. The great deduction! The game is afoot. Here we go! Time for the old dance of deduction. Old man's identity. So, give me a second, I need to drink water. So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylett. Obviously, what catches the eye in the first place? Is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You are on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beer you sport. Now, moving on. The question then begs is this. Why would you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beer, Mr. Roylett? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper, in particular the fascinating front page article, which, it would appear, you have read also, Mr. Roylett. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. Wait. Okay, hold on. You said a bread that's inedible. How about sourdough? In translation, the headline reads, Revolutionary villain Vorsvik flees Russia via Shanghai. As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article possessed an extremely copious beard. Having noted the article, well, you mentioned dough, so I was like, what about sourdough? Anyway, having noted the article yourself, you decided to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. Yes, people eat sourdough, but also doughs can get sour. You get what I mean? That's why he said edible, so it was like half a joke. Never mind. You are the fierce. I'm going to finish this dance of deduction, please. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, Villain Vorsvik. Not that I've heard of you myself. You understand. A revolutionary on the run. Hold that fast typing. Wrongdoing. Now, as for my second conclusion, you are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. The proof of this crime, over there. Oh yes, Mr. Roylett. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. Oh, and I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that traveling case. It is time, I think, that the case be open and its contents laid bare. No, I refuse. What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps. One slight enough to fit the... No! Hurlock! That is too small! Don't be absurd. And what, pray, would be the identity of this young lady in the traveling case? Dear me, we are not well suited to the life of crime, are we? Your careless coup d'oeil betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your traveling case can equally be found in the pages of this newspaper. And there is another, most stimulating article. If we turn from the fleeing revolutionary to the back page, renowned prima ballerina of Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can lead us to but one conclusion. Your crime is that of abduction. And according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova. That fast typing! Holy crap, I need to go back and read Janet's blog because she was talking about they had to make some changes to that typewriting sound for the deduction stuff, and I gotta figure out what she wants to keep a lookout for. Thus conclude Hurlock Shomes' great deduction of this Russian enigma. Elemensky. Hurlock! Susato-san, that wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it? Well, the stories are full of Mr. Shones' brilliant deductions, you know. But that did seem a little different somehow. Excuse me, Mr. Shomes. Could you come over here a moment? Pray, what can I do for you? It's about your deductions. Would you mind? Not at all. Go on. Well, to start with, there's the newspaper article. I think we had the same discussion before, but these two men look nothing like each other. Yes, I recall a discussion earlier, and at the time, I believe I told you. Give me 1 second, I gotta fix the mic. Because I'm kind of repositioning him in the chair right now. Yes, as I recall a discussion earlier, at the time, I believe I told you that the man is a revolutionary, well able to revolutionize his own appearance. In fairness to Mr. Shomes, Mr. Hurlock does look more like this man than you do. That's not the point. And another thing, the part about him abducting the ballerina. Indeed, a truly startling revelation. At first glance, the case would appear too small to accommodate a young woman. Not just at first glance, it is too small, clearly. You'd be lucky to fit the 5-year-old child in that case, even if you pushed really hard. I don't suppose the missing ballerina is a 5-year-old child, is she? No. You mean you don't know? No, the young lady is 15. No, I didn't know. How could I? Well, if she's 15, then 10 years worth of her would be poking out from the case. Some years ago, I read something pertinent, I believe. A troop of men consuming vinegar daily in order to promote a certain lithness in their bodies. Vinegar? For such a sour bunch, it would surely be simplicity itself to contort oneself into the confines of that small case. Oh dear. You might be thinking of Cortinus in circuses, Mr. Shomes. Ugh, this whole thing is turning into a circus. Mr. Naruhodo, something occurred to me while Mr. Shomes' deductions just now. Thank you for the follow! I think his powers of observations are, well, magical. His eyes cut to the heart of the matter almost immediately. It's just where he directs his attention and his logic that seems a little off. Your idea of a little may be a little off itself, Mrs. Sato. It's just 1 or 2 key words in his deductions that seem to let him down. So I was wondering if we might perhaps tactfully switch them for alternatives. What do you think? That's the TARDIS. Switch some key words in his deductions. Yes, but very tactfully. I feel sure we could do that. We'd unlock the true genius of Mr. Shomes' great deduction. Precisely. The thought that was going through my own mind. This man is a lot of work. I know, I'm tired just from talking as him. At times, I wonder how anyone puts up with me. The answer is they don't. They just... It's not that funny. Ah, and you, good fellow. Sorry? Take a moment to look at your wrist. My wrist? Ah! Where are your handcuffs? What? Where are your handcuffs? How did... Thanks for the sub, too! I felt that I may hinder your ability to follow me in our dance of deduction. He said it! I don't believe it. Mr. Shomes, you are a marvel. And don't worry, I shall restore the shackles to your wrist when we are finished. Oh, no, you don't need to do that. I'm not worried. In fact, I'd rather stay like this. So, let us begin. Hurlock Shomes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Oh, so it still has the logic and reasoning there. Course correction. Let's go, Mr. Shomes. God, I love this mechanic so much. So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylett. Obviously what catches the eye in the first place is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You are on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. I'm not so sure. Would you really use shears like that to cut off a beard? I doubt that's something I'll ever have to worry about. It doesn't quite sit right with me, though. It doesn't seem to be sitting right with Mr. Roylett either. Which means, I suppose, that the deduction is wrong. Let's try to switch a keyword here, Naruto-san, and see if it helps matters. Alright, but how? I think we should start by taking a long, hard look at Mr. Roylett. I wonder if it's really his beard that he intended to use those shears on. Exactly. If we do manage to find something that seems to fit the sense of Mr. Shomes' deductions better, then what? Then I'll leave the rest in your capable hands, Naruto-san. Why am I the one to do something like this? Because you're the protagonist. Well, anyway, let's see if there's anything we can even use to switch around in that last sentence. What exactly was Mr. Roy really going to use those enormous shears for? Well, that's easy. We'll just turn around and examine that for a moment. What the? What's this? It looks like a cascade of stunning golden locks. No. The color is not the point. The point is, what's it doing on the back of Mr. Roylett's head? And how is it growing out from underneath his thick black hair? Well, yes, that's true. So it's stunningly beautiful and stunningly surprising. Something's definitely not right here.
Yes!
Ah, so good! So good! You are on the verge of using the shears to cut away the golden locks you sport. Indeed, you have identified the precise detail I was intending to expose. Were you really intending? Such lush golden hair certainly does not befit an old man. You're not a man at all. You're a woman. And judging from the length and sheen of your hair, one still very much in her youth. Oh no. If only I had managed to cut off my hair, no one would have suspected. The question then begs is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of these magnificent locks? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. Turn it around, Holmes. Turn it around. Well, that was a shock. I had no idea that old man was really a young woman in disguise. Did you? What? Why are you staring at me like that? Yes, it was a surprise, Naruto-san. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Sorry? You look like you're in your element as you dance around the room deducing the facts with Mr. Shomes. I'm just doing what we agreed. I'm not having fun or anything. You're having fun. This is strictly business. Yes, I understand. Say no more. Susato's like smiling like, yeah, sure. Well, anyway, let's focus on this next part of Mr. Shomes' deduction, shall we? The evidence that he's picked out doesn't fit the facts at all now. No, that's true, given that Mr. Royet is actually a woman. Exactly. He, or rather she, can't possibly be this merciless revolutionary. I suppose it's because the deduction as a whole has taken a different direction now. Yes. Let's switch the evidence for something else. Something that fits the facts as we now understand them. For some reason, this woman needed to try to hide her true identity. I feel as though I've either read or heard about a young woman in a situation like that recently. Alright, I'll do my best.
Yes!
Bing! Sorry, the glass breaking is so satisfying. Oh my god, this deduction in HD on my big screen TV is so good! The evidence that reveals your true identity is, of course, the article about the ballerina. That's right, you've hit the nail on the head. Renowned prima ballerina of Novich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. It would appear we are finally able to address you by your true name. Yes, because your true identity is that of the Novich Ballet prima's ballerina. Miss Nikolina Pavlova. Ah! Hello. You're right. My real name is Nina. I mean, Nikolina Pavlova. But please, I beg you, don't tell anyone. So, in the Japanese version, Nico actually speaks in first person. Like, she would say Nico. Like, Nico is this, Nico is that. Funny enough. Which is something that the Japanese really like to do in their works of fiction sometimes. Now, as for my second conclusion, is she single? She's 15. Might be careful there. You are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime, over there. Oh yes, Miss Pavlova. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. And I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. Oh my god, the music has I love this! The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before your very eyes. Yes, this traveling case. This woman is the ballerina, and she's right in front of our eyes. So clearly she can't be inside that traveling case as well. No, that's right. It seems she wasn't abducted at all. In which case, what is the crime this young woman is apparently committing? I can see I'm going to have to step in and fix the great detective's mistake again. You seem to look pleased, Naruto-san. Do you like the idea of another chance to dance around with Mr. Shomes? Stop it. Anyway, there must be something else here that shows what this woman is up to. What if Naruto... You know what? It makes me wonder if Naruto secretly can dance. It's a very small case, isn't it? You can see instantly that no person could possibly fit inside there. So does that tell us that Miss Pavlova, Telling's glance in this direction, was focused on something else? If that's true, though, it doesn't make sense. What do you mean? Well, if there's nothing incriminating inside this case, why did she refuse to let us look inside? Yes, I wonder why. Perhaps she has a perfectly harmless reason, though. Hello? Wow, look at this dazzling tiara. I've never seen anything like it. Are those real diamonds, do you think? Oh, Naruto-san, try it on. What? Me? Isn't it usually girls who wear tiaras? Wouldn't you like to try it on? Come on, Naruto, who cares? Try on the tiara. Oh, no, I couldn't possibly. It's far too beautiful. Are you saying you're not beautiful? Whew. Susaru, you're gorgeous. Why does this tiara look familiar? I feel like I've seen it somewhere recently. Can I present that?
Yes!
The proof of your crime is surely this tiara. I believe this tiara is worn on stage by dancers in the Novitz Ballet, is it not? Rio is a princess. Indeed, it would appear to be identical to the tiara pictured here in this newspaper article. And if the reporting is to be believed, it's an item worth 20,000 rubles. In summary, oh my god, I want to see Hosonaga with a tiara. The crime you have committed is theft. Oh no. Yes, you left your ballet troupe unlawfully taking their precious tiara with you. Ah! I have no one, no family, no friends. I am all alone, and I need money. But I did not steal the tiara. It was present from, how do you say, an Earl of Prussia. It belongs to me. This girl is only 15 years old, and she's run away all by herself. She must have been extremely lonely. All right, I will tell you everything. There is no point to hiding it now. Come, let us not be hasty. What? There remains one unsolved mystery about you. Mystery? What do you mean? You have staunchly refused to open this traveling case of yours in our presence. It is reasonable to conclude, therefore, that there exists some reason why you wish it to remain closed. Hosonaga the platypus? Is that not so, Miss Pavlova? My dear girl, there's no sense in playing games with me. Nothing escapes my attention. Indeed, I have a very good idea of the contents of your case, even before I ever laid eyes on them. Dear me, we are not well suited to life of crime, are we? Your careless coup d'oeil betrays you. I'm sorry I'm mispronouncing that. I'm very sure I'm mispronouncing that. Once again, we only followed your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason why you refused to open your case is written in the books on the shelf. He completely changed tack with his deduction just now. I think Mr. Shomes is adapting his logic to the changing circumstances, don't you? Maybe, but why has he suddenly brought the bookshelf into all this? It's just a wild guess, surely.
Oh, do you think so?
Well, it doesn't seem likely that the reason why this young woman doesn't want to open her case would have been written in a book that doesn't even belong to her.
Yes, that's true, but still. Miss Pavlova certainly did cast her eyes in that direction. I noticed it myself.
Then there has to be another reason why she won't open her case. And it must be somewhere in the same area, if that's where her gaze was involuntarily drawn.
I agree. That's the only answer.
Whatever she has hidden inside that case should be revealed by following her gaze in the direction of the bookcase. I got you the answer.
These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the St. Brea. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in the cabin. Pets are also strictly forbidden.
There was exactly the same notice in our cabin, too. I wonder what happens if you break the rules.
Oh dear. I'm sure the punishment would be severe, Naruhodo-san. You'd probably be left to drift in the freezing cold ocean. Or shut inside a tiny wardrobe for days on end.
So I've actually been serving time for weeks now, have I? Boink! Give me that. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Oh, thank you. Vinamani. Vinaman. Yeah, I know. Sorry. I wanted to try. I really wanted to try. Vinamani is how I'm going to read that. Inside that case of yours is something forbidden from carriage on this vessel. That is the real reason why you refuse to open it, thus revealing its contents. As we've seen, the trunk wobbles from time to time, but no weapon or dangerous item would move of its own accord. Which leaves but one possibility, Miss Pavlova. Inside your traveling case... God, I love these two! And I love how, like, as we go through the dance induction, if you're new to this, you notice that the track is the same track, but they add more instruments as we go. Is the last item list as forbidden in the vessel's rules of passage a pet? Venimanie. Venimanie. Possession of a prohibited animal. Oof. Poor Naruhodo. Downgraded to a pet. Naruhodo is Asogi's pet concern. So clearly, you aren't who you said you were.
No, I am not Grimsby Roylet. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. Everything you said was correct.
You absconded during one of your ballet company's performances in order to escape your homeland. Later that same night, you stole aboard this vessel, which couldn't have been easy. The Brea is a huge steamship with a vast crew. Could she really have snuck on board without being noticed? In order to obscure your true identity, you somewhat recklessly took the guise of an old gentleman. And you intended to sever all links with your past by severing your long hair. Yet to a woman, hair is no trifling matter. My personal recommendation is to leave well alone. So, if it was just you about to cut off your own hair, who was it that let out the scream we heard from outside the cabin? That veritable tinkling of a bell? Why, none other than this young lady, naturally. More like a full set of pipes, if you ask me.
I was so scared when I ran away in Shanghai. I was sure they would come looking for me. That's why I decided to how do you say, disgust myself so no one would recognize me. As a result, you transform yourself into that questionable old man. I see. I put on the fur hat and fake beard. Then just before you came here, I saw in the newspaper, right on the page, there was a picture of me. I was so frightened, I couldn't stop from screaming. I knew that if I didn't change my appearances completely, they would find me. So I decided to cut all my hair as fastly as possible. I picked up the scissors in my hand and...
At that precise moment, we walked in through the annoyingly unlocked cabin door. He just wanted to kick it down.
Things happen like that sometimes, don't they?
Things do indeed happen like that, from time to time. Are those two even talking about the same thing?
There's just one more thing I'd like to know. What exactly do you have inside your traveling case? You were right. It is my dear friend inside. My only friend in the world. Please, don't tell anyone. If Captain finds out, if you say to any of the crew.
Your secret is safe with us, I assure you. But in return, you must tell us, in as much detail as you can muster, about the events of last night.
Yes. All right. I will tell you. Well, Mr. Naruhodo. Wasn't it something, Mr. Shomes' great deduction?
It was certainly something, yes. I'm just not entirely sure what. But at least Miss Pavlova has agreed to tell us what she knows. That's incredible. Indeed, it is incredible. Ah, and one more thing.
Oh? Yes? What?
Observe your wrist. Oh no, we put the handcuffs back on.
Ah! Your hands are cuffed again!
What? But how? True to my word, I have restored your shackles. Ugh. When and why?
There is still a shadow of guilt cast over you, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sorry to say, it can't be helped at the moment.
Can it? Can't it? Really?
Anyway, let's listen to what Miss Pavlova has to say. I can't go on not knowing. I have to find out what that speckled band that Kazuma-sama wrote about in his diary really was.
I wanted to go back to examining because I didn't finish examining everything.
Let me see. Don't touch!
Oh, never mind, I can't examine anything. Huh?
I will tell you what I know about last night, but please, you must not touch my things.
Those books are your things?
How do I say, forbid it?
Oh, sorry. As well as you should be. Young man, what vulgar manners you have. You're one to talk. Poking around in a young lady's private belongings. Neither shall I allow it. Ugh, hypocrite. Yes, he is! Oh my goodness. Okay. Fine. What, wait. Can I? Okay. Did you know that someone was killed in the cabin next door to this one last night?
One of crewmate told me this morning when I was eating breakfast.
The man who died. He was a friend of mine.
Oh.
That's why we're trying to find out what happened. Did you notice anything unusual last night?
Perhaps you heard a strange noise, for example. Perhaps people talking?
Perhaps the ship was absorbed in a wild tempest. Perhaps its steam engine exploded. If it exploded, we'd be sinking. Perhaps everyone on board would have noticed if that had happened.
Miss Pavlova, is there anything you can tell us? I don't know. I'm sorry, but all I could think about last night was what I had done and whether they would find me. I didn't notice anything that was happening around me.
Oh, I see. You run away from your ballet company, haven't you? The Novovich Ballet?
Yes. I am traveling to Great Britain, and from there, I want to go to America. I will never dance again. I want to forget everything about the ballet. I will start a new life.
You wish to forget? A challenging proposition. When you have that striking tiara as a reminder.
But the tiara is mine. I need it to live. I have no money of my own. The Novovich Ballet gives us only a little food and water, and we must dance all over the world. I had to run away. I had no choice. If I stayed, it would have killed me.
So you ran away to protect yourself?
Yes, and the crew of this ship, they have all been so kind to me. They let me come on board, and they said I could hide in this cabin.
If that is indeed the truth, Miss Pavlova, it creates a most intriguing conundrum.
Yes, it does. What do you think about it, Mr. Naruhodo?
Me? Oh, well, yes, of course. I think we should hear Miss Pavlova's explanation. To what conundrum, I'm not sure, but when did the ship stop last night? Miss Pavlova, allow me to pose you a riddle. According to this newspaper, it was only yesterday that you absconded from the ballet. Now, that being the case, it must have been last night that you boarded this vessel. However, the Desesbres stopped by no port last night. Oh, that's it, of course. So how is it, pray tell, that you come to be aboard?
Now that I think about it, the crewman outside the cabin acted very strangely when we mentioned that. It was just after we asked him about when the occupant of this cabin came aboard.
Hello, Suki. That is not your business. Yeah, you're right. He did seem to be hiding something.
An angel descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to the stage.
Sorry? What was that?
It is how the Russian newspapers described one of my performances. And that is how I came here too. I descended from the heavens because I am an angel.
Considering English isn't your mother tongue, your description is very vivid.
Mr. Sohm once said, I never can resist a touch of the dramatic. It seems Miss Pavlova is the same.
A genius descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to detection. Words once said about myself. Shomes. A quote from a wonderfully extravagant advertisement. For the adventures of Hurlock Shomes, in fact. Yes, Mr. Showy. Anyway, it doesn't look like Miss Pavlova is going to tell us what really happened. So, the friend you mentioned is inside your traveling case, is that right?
I don't think animals are allowed on board according to the rules of passage. Oh, please, don't tell any of the crew. If they find my precious...
Then the burly Russian would bestir themselves to unison to throw you and your case overboard, no doubt. So reassuring, Mr. Shomes.
But what sort of pet is your friend? A little puppy? It is, isn't it?
Maybe an adorable little rabbit?
Ha! You credit Russia as a land with small rabbits, do you?
Oh, don't they have small rabbits there then?
You may very well ask. I have no idea. You two are miserable bunglers when it comes to understanding the nature of young ballerina's friends. Isn't it obvious? It must be a chicken.
What?
Really? Consider the benefits. A rousing wake-up call, daily fresh eggs. And when adversity strikes, it would satisfy the needs of sustenance.
So you eat your friends. I'll remember that. Taking a moment to drink. Sherlock is a cannibal.
Well, it would appear this friend's identity is a closely guarded secret not to be revealed.
Man, I want to be the boisterous Sherlock I had for the Japanese version. She obviously doesn't quite trust us yet. There's something I should like to show her, I think. Maybe she might be able to shed some light on it. Oh, I have so much Japanese things to do whenever I take a break. This is the diary of my friend who passed away.
His diary.
Yes, and he wrote in it last night before he died. Something a little unusual. It reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. And then a few minutes later, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
A speckled band. I don't understand.
It's strange, isn't it? But the ventilator he mentions joins to this cabin, you see. It's up there on the wall.
In other words, this cabin and the victim's cabin are connected together. Oh. Miss Pavlova, has something occurred to you? Does the speckled band the victim mentioned mean something to you? Or the whistling sound, perhaps? No. I don't know anything.
That means you know something. Oh. You definitely know something. Excuse me, Mr. Roylett. Yes? What? Wow, she's fast. Captain would like to speak with you. You must come to Captain's quarters at once. Please.
All right, I will come now.
What?
You must leave. Now.
Oh, no, it's fine. Don't mind us. We're just gonna stay here.
Yes, please don't worry yourself, Mr. Roylett.
Get out! The pastor said out! Or you want me to throw you out? Ugh. It looks like we'll have to leave investigating this cabin until later.
What a pity.
Kazuma, death by fart. And so we lost our chance. Having still not managed to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin, we were unceremoniously chased out. That is to say, we were quite literally picked up and thrown into the passageways outside. There we go! We found the to be continue, and that's actually where we're going to stop tonight.